For most of my life, usefulness was tied to role. Who I was determined what I was for: parent, worker, helper, provider, problem solver. Each role came with expectations, and usefulness meant meeting them, doing what was required, doing it well, doing it consistently. I didn't question that structure. It felt natural to belong to life through function. But somewhere along the way, the roles loosened. Not all at once, not dramatically. They just stopped holding the center. I still do things that help, still show up when something needs attention, still respond when I'm asked. But I no longer feel like someone who must do those things in order to be legitimate. Usefulness has detached itself from identity. And without identity, usefulness feels very different. Before, being useful carried pressure. If I wasn't contributing in the right way, I felt uneasy. If I didn't know my role in a situation, I felt exposed. Now usefulness doesn't announce itself. It happens quietly. Sometimes I help without thinking of it as help. Sometimes I listen without feeling like a listener. Sometimes I do nothing, and nothing is required of me. There's no inner checklist asking whether I'm fulfilling my function. I've noticed how often roles were used to stabilize self-worth. If I knew what I was for, I knew where I stood. Without that framework, there was a period of uncertainty, a sense of floating. But that floating didn't turn into loss, turned into flexibility. I don't need to occupy a position to participate anymore. I don't need to define my contribution in advance. Life presents situations. Responses arise. That's enough. I used to believe usefulness had to be visible, that it needed recognition to be real. Now usefulness feels anonymous. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't add to me. It just happens when something aligns. There's a relief in not having to maintain a role, in not having to remember who I'm supposed to be in each context. I don't carry myself differently depending on what's expected. I'm just present. Sometimes that presence turns into action. Sometimes it doesn't. Neither feels wrong. Being useful without a role also means allowing others to be useful without comparison. There's no hierarchy of contribution. No measuring who gives more, who matters more, who carries more weight. Everyone moves where they're needed or not at all, and life adjusts. I see now how often roles created subtle tension, how staying inside them required effort. Even roles I valued became burdens when they defined me. Letting go of role doesn't mean withdrawing from responsibility. It means responsibility isn't tied to self-image anymore. I don't act to reinforce who I am. I act because something is happening. And when it's over, there's nothing to preserve. I don't feel useful in the way I once did. And that's not a loss. It's a simplification. Usefulness no longer feels like purpose. It feels like participation. And participation doesn't need explanation. I don't wonder how I fit into the larger picture. I don't need to know. If something asks for a response, I respond. If it doesn't, I don't insert myself. There's a deep ease in that. The need to be needed has softened. Not because it was wrong, but because it's no longer required for belonging. I belong without contributing. And when contribution happens, it doesn't elevate me. It just passes through. This changes how I relate to absence as well, to stepping back, to not being involved. There's no guilt in not filling space. Space doesn't need to be filled. Being useful without a role means letting usefulness be temporary, situational, unclaimed. It doesn't follow me around. It doesn't become something I have to live up to tomorrow. And that lightness has made presence easier. I'm not here to perform function. I'm here to live. And life seems perfectly capable of using what's available without assigning labels. I don't need a role to be of use. I just need to be here. And that, surprisingly, has been enough.